Hello, darlings. This is Katerina. We're gonna give it a second time. It looks like the connection's so much better here. So I wanted to connect with you on this really crucial topic. I never know where we're gonna go. I have some notes and some ideas. What would I love to share with you? And then ultimately we're just gonna trust where the transmission will take us. So I'm gonna wait maybe like 20 seconds. Hi, darlings. Hello. And I really believe this topic, I've been sitting with it, I've been sitting with it. Hello, look at this. Hello, darlings. Love it. I love seeing these beautiful faces. Hi, Charles. Good to see you, amigo. Lori, Simon. Hi, Devin. Yeah, in the evening, completely different crowd is gathering in the evening, right? My friend Blaine, Todd, Kathy. Hi, you guys. Hello, darlings. Hello. So I have these 3 stages of awakening that I just kind of mapped out the other day. And I wanted to share it with you because I believe it can help all of us understand the journey and find deep honor for the journey of awakening, because it's a journey. And there's distinct stages, there's shifts of consciousness that are really distinct. And especially if you work with people let's say you're in an arena of transformation, similar to me, then I feel it's empowering to share. The more we share with each other, the more we can expand consciousness in this universe. The moment I start seeing this reality as consciousness seeking feedback, my entire experience of this reality changed big time, because, I don't really see anything as a negative experience, or I just see it consciousness seeking feedback. That's all. So, darlings, while everybody is joining, I'm gonna wait maybe 20 more seconds. If you and I never met, if it's the first time we meet, hi, thank you so much for joining and trusting your intuition. My name is Katerina Satori. I'm originally from Russia. I was born and raised there. And I am American by choice. I've lived in the States for about 13 years now, and definitely galactic by my soul. Very galactic origin from a different star system, for sure. You can count on that. But this transmission, you guys, my intention is to keep it very practical and very grounded, right? So we can all benefit together. So recently, I've been sharing more and more this very particular topic, and it's topic on healing, soul healing, different stages of healing that we are invited by our soul, right, you guys? So I wanted galactic God. Devon says galactic goddess. I'll take that, love. Yes, darling. So, it's interesting because I'm a big believer of letting the past be the past, extracting the wisdom, extracting the gold, but I don't really invest too much energy and focus into the past unless I reach a crucial stage in my awakening journey where I've been invited by my soul to unravel a deeper layer of healing. And that's what I wanted to share with you guys, because I got a message from one of my friends, and they said, Katerina, what's going on? You're talking wounds, family healing, family secrets. What's going on with you? And I said, the moment I see a distinction that I didn't see before, I celebrate that distinction like a powerful win. Because if I didn't see it before, to me, it means I wasn't ready to see it. Finally, I see it clearly, and from an insight, I go to integration, right? By reorganizing my life around this insight. So powerful, powerful stuff, you guys. I've discovered on my path 3 stages, 3 crucial stages. And once again, if you work with people, I feel you're going to find it very, very powerful. The first stage, I'm going to first kind of share the stages with you, and then I'm going to go deeper into each one. And why do I say integrative awakening? What I mean by that, you guys, it's the word that I just kind of came up with. It's really grounded, digested, mystical experience, right? That you can apply, you can see a lasting change in your life. You integrate it, that breakthrough, you integrated that shift of consciousness, right? You experience a different quality of life. You experience less fear, less worry, less, desire to control this reality, right? And you have integrated particular stage. So the 3 stages that I see, you guys, the first stage is healing your own wounds. That's the first stage. Second stage, healing your family wounds. And the third stage is healing your human wound, right? And they look like stages, but they actually, in my perspective, they are more like a spiral, like a spiral. You come up to, to the new understanding of yourself, new experience of yourself, right? And then you unravel a next layer. And between these stages, the key idea is integration chapter. I also call them stabilization chapter, where you really find yourself, oh my God, this is how it feels to live consistently in alignment, right? So let me look at your comments, you guys. And if you have questions during this live stream, just write them down. And I'm gonna save a lot of time for live Q&A. But yeah, you guys, it's a big shift. Like the first stage is healing of your own wounds, right? The first stage on the journey where you just realize, oh my God, I have this split aspects of who I am, right? And one part is pulling me here, another part is pulling me there. And you just realize of this huge disintegrated state of inner being, right? It's the first stage. And you learn to first notice that. And the second one, you're like, okay, how do I heal the split within? And I believe, you guys, for me, it took the longest part of my journey, because if you never looked within, right? If you never dared to look within, it requires so much courage. It requires so much courage. That's why I'm a big believer to celebrate every single time you notice a pattern in yourself and you walk kind to yourself. It's easy. It's really easy to be hard on yourself. That doesn't take much effort, right? It's easy to be critical towards yourself. That's really easy. But the very first stage, when you look at the healing of the inner split, you're really learning to be with yourself in a whole new way. And usually at this stage, you're too fragile energetically, emotionally, spiritually to deal with anything that awaits you on a second stage, right, you guys? So at least from my perspective, when I was healing myself, my very first stage of this awakening journey, I got away from my family as far as possible, halfway across the world, far away. That was the only way that I was able to, find some kind of a ground under my feet, create like this little buffer around myself so I can look within without being constantly bombarded by the heavy energy of the family environment, right? So that's the first stage. You kind of become self-obsessed a little bit. It's all about you and your healing and your process, right? So that's the first stage. I found three kind of points under the first stage. First shift is going from the victim consciousness to creator consciousness, right? And you understand it on the intellectual level first, then the emotional, experiential level as well. And with this one, you guys, once you start it's just like a muscle training. You gotta practice seeing yourself as a creator. You can fall back into victim consciousness at any point. Don't fool yourself that you overcame this conditioning, right? At any point you have a choice. Do I think as a creator, or do I expect my life to be taken care of by others? Right, you guys? So it's a self-check like that. But thinking of yourself as a creator is a powerful milestone that you accomplish on your path, right? And then the second stage is healing of your pain body. And I really feel, you guys, that is a stage that takes a lot of time and a lot of patience. Healing of your pain body. I compare it, with my fitness training right now. I've been training with a new trainer, an incredible person, for 3 months, you guys. And a really intense training, very specific meal plan and all of that. And it takes all my presence and all my self-compassion not to be hard on myself through this process, right? Because the transformation is happening so deep that you don't often see these striking changes in a way, right? So imagine that's just the physical level. Imagine when you are just entering the spiritual path, and I really wanted to address that, because a lot of people who drawn to my shares and my videos, you guys are quite advanced. You're already on this path for some time. You're leaders, you lead movements, right? But it's something I wanted to address for people who are relatively new to the path, right? And I'm here just to encourage you, be patient. A lot of times you start this deep inner work and you don't see the changes because they happen so deep in your subconscious mind, right? And it's a practice to be kind to yourself. It's really practice. So that's how I compare these two arenas, you guys. And then throughout entire process is you're learning to, you're walking this self-love journey, right? Throughout every single stage. But the first stage, once again, is just intellectual. You like self-love, what it really means. And for me, you guys, how I understand the self-love that is mature, right? A self-love that is of mature quality is your ability to accept yourself no matter which stage you are. It's your ability to receive yourself with tenderness, your ability to self-parent, right? Yeah, Kira says, one of the hardest, we can be our own worst enemy. Absolutely. Tony T. Garden, what's going on, neighbor? Yeah, I'm sharing 3 stages, you guys. And, if you're working with people, if you are in the relationship with people, like we all are, then, listen to what I share with this perspective. Can I see it in others, or can I see it in my own life? But the first stage is healing of your own wounds. And the second stage, healing family wounds. And the third stage is healing your human wound. And they're all different levels of integration, you guys. It's a fascinating process. So usually the very first stage, you become really self-obsessed, but in a good way. You're discovering your inner world. You're diving deep. You're courageous to look within, right? And then the second stage is what I've been sharing lately, is this process where you build your inner world to the level of stability, right, and strength that you can, assert your own boundaries. You can speak up for yourself. When you say no, you really mean no. When you say yes, you really mean yes. That can take a decade just to reach this level, you guys. And a lot of us, me including, right, we get so used to, creating the shifts and pivotal moments that we don't give ourselves enough credit. And once again, I'm the biggest cheerleader. You guys, I am human just like you. So there was a moment today where I hit this experience of a low emotion, a little bit of a funk, gloomy day. I don't know what was the reason. But my ability to shift that state is so phenomenal that I celebrate myself for it. You know, I encourage myself. I'm like, wow, Katerina, it only took you 45 minutes to feel what you feel, to process it, to transmute the energy, right, from the dark into the light. That is a huge, huge achievement. So that's the first stage, you guys. And once again, the first stage takes radical patience and your ability to remain on the path, even if your results of this deep inner work that you're doing remain invincible just yet. Right? Because as the quote on this live stream, if you really want to know if you are enlightened, go spend a week with your family, right? Ram Das, I love the teacher. He's so, so amazing. Hi, Clara. Hi, darling. Deborah. Hello, hello. Yeah, guys, I'm just sharing from the heart, you know, because I really feel if we can see it in stages, and if it's a spiral, right? It's not like you got on the stage and you're complete. No, it's a spiral. So integration and stabilization between each stage. And then once you build up your inner world, once you build up your inner strength, here's your higher self, your oversoul, the architect of your destiny, invites you to a deeper layer of inner work because you are ready for it. When you're not ready for it, you're not even going to be drawn, right, to a topic like healing of your family wounds. That's an advanced topic, you guys. Look at this. Clara says, visiting my family in a month. Clara, yes, I have a feeling you've got this. You've got so many tools, right? So you guys, healing the family wounds, and it also comes in layers. You know, the very first stage is taking your parents off the hook, seeing them as human beings, not just parents. Let's see. Tony says, family equals all the spiritual harmonizing intelligent truth. I love that. I love that, you guys. Yeah, so the stage 2 is healing family wounds. And that's why when people ask me, Katerina, why you talk about family wounds right now? What happened to you? And I said, you guys, I saw a new distinction. When I see a new distinction, it's like this giant victory on the path. Giant victory on the path. And I want to share this with you. So the first thing, you guys, is taking your parents off the hook. Seeing them as human beings. You know, seeing them without the past, it's the next level. That's what Byron Katie helped me to practice. She gave me this practice, seeing people without the past. Guys, you can just take that and go be that as your daily practice. You will see how difficult that is, because the mind wants to put people in the box, me including, right? Me including. So it's a profound practice. When you are with somebody, can you see people fresh? And I'm not saying I always succeed in this, you guys. But what I do succeed is I know which practice I return to. Even if I forgot, right? You know, like spending time with my neighbor Tony, my incredible friend Tony, and I forgot to see him without the past. You know, and I lost the moment of presence. I communicate with him, but I see him through the lenses of my past experience. I missed out on the depth of the communion with that soul. But I can remember that. I can come back to the practice. Oh, maybe next moment. Let me practice next moment. Let me practice next moment. Right, you guys? And this is the practice. This is the practice. So when you are being invited by your oversoul to step into the second stage of integrative awakening, you already build up your soul strength, right? You build up your soul strength. So the family wounds, you guys, family trauma, and learning to receive love from your parents. This was huge, 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 huge. I went to get a session to identify a specific pattern of the family trauma, you guys. And I shared this with you before. It was such a powerful session, such a powerful session. And the person who did the session for me, good evening, Harsh, he gave me three practices that I must do for the next 90 days. You guys, I just started, that was a week ago. I just started my first practice. And I'm observing this because, it's like, I know the transformation is so huge there, but if I don't do the practice, the information and the insight that I got is just intellectual high, right? Makes me feel a little bit smarter that I got this insight. From the insight to integration, the path is through practice. The path is through practice. So the reason why I feel so inspired to share with you these new understandings about how important healing your family wounds is because on a soul level, we choose our parents, right? It's, at least if you resonate with that perspective, you don't have to accept it, right? I choose to see it that way. And, it's so incredible. If you, one of the key distinctions that I've realized is if you had an experience of rejecting your parent. I had that experience. I rejected my father, you guys. First, I tried to save him for almost a decade from his alcoholism. Then I went through the process of, anger and the process of, let me just reject you. Let me cut you out of my life. So you can't really, it's futile, it's really futile to do that because whatever is not healed will haunt you. It will haunt you in your nightmares. It will haunt you in your romantic partners. This is how unhealed relationship with your parents, they show up in your romantic partners. And that's why, you guys, I began sharing this message because it's so, so powerful. It often, not many people will be brave to talk about it. It's easy to pretend that you have a healed relationship with your family, or at least don't want to look at it, But there's a deeper layer. So key distinction was for me is if you reject the parent, you will reject the partner, right? And the mirroring of that will happen. So, and another distinction was whenever you have an inspiration, when you're on the stage 2 of healing the family wounds, you will be receiving, you guys, I'm convinced of this, from my own personal experience, you'll be receiving these inspiring ideas. Like a memory will come up, right? You begin to see the new way, and you will hear maybe a voice, an idea, reach out to your family. Just call, just say something. Like I haven't talked to my dad for quite a while, And the first assignment that I got when I went to that session to find the biggest pattern of the family trauma, the first assignment, go call your dad. So simple, you guys, there's no do you want to do it? When would you like to do it? It's just instruction. Go call your dad. And what I do next, I set an intention to find my dad, right? To find his number, and already got this arranged. And this will happen this weekend, you guys. So the key point is when you are ready to dive deeper into understanding your dynamic with your family, be extra attentive to the ideas, to inspiring visions that you have, because all of those will support you in unraveling a really, really crucial piece, And the big understanding that I got, you guys, is ability to receive love from our parents is not that easy. It's not that easy. So I got this practice that I'm going to share with you. And I'm let's see. Lori says, what if your parent is so cold when you reach out? I hear you, darling. I hear you. what I would suggest for that is to first connect with your parent higher self. You can count that their higher self is warm, loving, not clouded by the human wounds, right? So imagine that you can connect with your parent's higher self. And that's actually the direct route that I always recommend. Before I pick up the phone to call my dad, after almost 7 years of not speaking, I will do this process. I imagine my father higher self. I imagine seeing him without the past, right? Yeah, and just connect to the soul. Let me look. It looks like this topic resonates with you guys. And once again, if you're asking this question, it means you've reached a soul's maturity, of your remembrance of maturity, that you're ready to dive this deep. So honor yourself. That's a huge accomplishment. Huge accomplishment. You can't put a price on it, right? So always, Yvonne says, my father never wants to, hi Amber, my father never wants to get deep on emotional level. How do you get past that resistance? Yeah, darling, I feel, great question. I completely surrendered my hope and dream that I will ever have a soul-to-soul conversation with my dad. I surrendered that longing of my heart. I just surrendered it, And I said, maybe that was not a part of the healing process. Maybe part of the healing process, can I see this person without the past? Can I see them as a human being radically different from me? And can I create a field of acceptance by my energy? Because if I am on my awakening journey, I can hold a higher perspective. I can see the situation from a higher perspective. Then I have a responsibility to just cultivate the frequency of acceptance. And when I know that I've reached the point, I gotta step away from situation because it's so cold, Yvonne, right? Or so emotionally challenging, I remove myself from the situation to regroup. That usually works for me, you guys. But that's the key distinction. You are on a stage 2. Amber, we're talking about 3 stages. First stage is the healing of your own wounds. Second stage, healing of your family consciousness, family soul, family dynamic, right, you guys? So once you're there, it's a huge achievement because you're able to hold a frequency of unconditional love. And that is phenomenal. That is phenomenal. And then learning to be with your parents without wanting them to be anything but who they are. Deep practice, you guys, deep practice, right? Because especially if you know a lot, if you could help them a lot, if they're not asking you for help, if they're not asking you for your wisdom, they're just not going to receive it. So all you can do is just be present and see it as a deep, deep spiritual practice. So the third stage, you guys, is the healing of the human wound. And I love sharing about this stage because it's an interesting process where you discover how to make peace with human suffering. It's almost like a human suffering. You know how the Buddha said, everything is impermanent, right? And suffering is a part of this experience. So if there's soul healing like an onion, yeah, I'm gonna look at your comments, you guys. Keep writing them. I'm just gonna stay with this one thought. If the soul healing is like an onion, then your ability to touch upon the core of the human suffering is your ability to experience truly divine grace. And you guys, it's this existential pain, at the core of any human vehicle that we call body, that no matter how much inner work you do, no matter how enlightened you become, because you are in the physical body, you will feel this experience. You know, this Richard Rudd, the author of Gene Keys, calls it the human ache, the holy discontent, existential longing, right? And you guys, I've had those existential crises really, really early. I think age 12 was my first existential crisis. Lindsay, hi dear. And, you know, I had this fantasy that eventually when you understand the universe in a big way, that human ache will go away, will disappear. And what I'm realizing, you guys, it doesn't go away. You just begin to see it differently. You begin to see the real value of it. You begin to see the real lesson of it. Yeah, Lindsay says, hi, you're talking about my last 7 days. 7, sacred number, Lindsay. You went full circle, huh? I love that. So you guys, it's powerful. You know, it's powerful because if you see the value, this human ache, this holy discontent comes with the vehicle of your body. Oh, you say 7 days with the family. Got you. Yeah, 7 days with the family. Are you, Lindsay, do you feel more enlightened? Or do you feel more humbled? How do you feel? Blaine says, so needed this right now, my dear. I'm so glad, darling. I'm so glad. So how do I experience this interaction with the human wound? You know, I believe, you guys, it gives us a deep invitation. No. Let me say it differently. I believe, you guys, when we experiencing this holy ache, divine discontent, human ache, right? It interconnects us with each other and gives us an experience of compassion with each other. Because one thing that we all share, it doesn't matter if you are right now on the high horse and you have all the billions and gazillions in the world, there is some area in your life where you will feel divine discontent. And if you don't know the purpose of it, it can be very disorienting. And it can be, and if you pretend like it doesn't exist, and you keep yourself busy, right? Keep yourself really, really busy, distracted, it's just gonna go deep and deeper and deeper. One day it's gonna just erupt, you know? So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. You know, so how do we deal with the human wound, you say, right? Or at least I imagine you say. You know, how do you deal with any wound? How do you deal with any wound? With care. You know, with care. You stop desiring that divine discontent to go away. You stop desiring to fix it. You actually smile at the irony of that. You know, you begin to see this human experience. Yeah, Lindsay says, stop and take care of it. Exactly, darling. Stop and take care of it. So how do I interact with that human moment? I lean into my inner child process. It's so basic, you guys. But you know, some of the most powerful masters teach basic stuff. I learned it from Adyashanti. You know Adyashanti? I love that teacher. He has the book called The Impact of Awakening. Lindsay, I have a feeling that you would really love that. Or there's another one called something Grace. Anything he writes, you guys, you know, you read a paragraph and you just be with that paragraph because it's so powerful. But that's what, you know, that's what he talks about. He talks about really learning to be, and without trying to fix and see the whole cosmic game and the irony. Yeah, Tony says, great book, one of my favorites. Exactly, you guys. So in order to transmute the suffering, right, you got to first accept it as a part of your incarnation on this planet, you know? And what helps me, you guys, is just naming it. Oh, I'm feeling this deep dive into the chambers of my subconscious, and it feels like divine ache. I was like, here's another invitation into intimacy with my soul. That's how I name it, right? I don't call it the wrong experience. I call it a very rich experience, because your soul, you guys, the very first book that I read about the soul, Care for the Soul, Dr. Richard Moore, Care of the Soul. It's like a manual of the soul. And it opened my understanding so deeply when I realized that your soul thrives on these deep voids. Deborah says, divine invitation. That's right. That's right. It's like your soul knocking on your door. It says, hey, you're ready to see a different layer of this journey. You're ready to understand this whole experience in a whole new light. Deborah says, I love him and that book, Care of the Soul. I love it too, Deborah. That book was like a manual for the soul that I've discovered, the very first one. But he really talks about, an experience of depression, interestingly enough, as this almost like a beautiful dramatic dance that your soul invites you to experience. He talks about also divorce being a really powerful initiation. Yeah, Lindsay says, so funny, my response has been to really beat myself up. Yes, honey. Yeah, that's default, right? That's default. Because imagine if we do this to ourselves, that's a default. That's all we saw as children. When you are in distress, you beat yourself up. So imagine to rewire that. That's a huge accomplishment, you guys. Yeah, you can build a building, you can sell millions of dollars, you can do all of these great things, but if you never dare to look within and be with your human wound, be with your, feel this human existential pain, and without squirming around it, without trying to run away, be with it, that's a powerful accomplishment of a very strong soul. That's why, if you let me, I'm going to remind you this again and again, that it's not a small accomplishment. And all of these processes are invisible, you guys. Only you know how deep you go through each stage. So who's going to celebrate? You. Right, you guys? You. So I constantly have a dialogue with myself. Today, like I said, you guys, I was on the funk. I didn't want to go work out. I showed up to my trainer, and she kicked my butt, and I felt so good, so alive. I'm like, I'm going to go deliver live stream for my people, right? But through this process of, it took 2 hours, I kept staying connected to myself, being gentle with myself in the beginning. Oh, here it is. Here's the human wound again, and then being compassionate, self-parenting. This is the art, you guys, where you navigate your inner world and you're able to attune what's going on inside. How can I be kind? And every time you notice a pattern and you just a little bit more kinder to yourself, celebrate like you just won a big, big, big prize, because you did. Because you did. You unraveled a next level of karma that you don't need to walk through by life experience. If you can see the pattern, own it gently with your heart and choose differently, boom, you just untie the knot. You don't need to wait until life will bring you this experience to you and force you to deal with it. So the reason I call it integral awakening, darlings, because what I've noticed is there is a big integration chapters between these stages. It could be 7 several months long, it could be several years, or it could be several hours. It just depends on our individual paths, right? Isn't it amazing that there is no awakening story alike? I find it so amazing, because we're fulfilling the primary goal of consciousness seeking feedback. You and I right now, you are watching me, you are the consciousness seeking itself as a feedback that you receive from me, right? In the same way. So amazing, this life. So darlings, if you really think you are enlightened, go spend the week with your family like Lindsay did. And it's not a small achievement. It's a big achievement. It's a big achievement. And when you see new distinctions in your relationship with others, it means, you're ready. You're ready to make a new change, a really, really powerful one that you were not able to see before. Let me look at your comments. Hello, Kyle, Chris. Hi, darlings. Let me look at, I saw Ram. Ram. Let me look, you guys. Ram says, Katerina, I feel like somewhere deep energetically codependent with my mother. Thank you for sharing. What does it take to clear this? Now that's really me hooking into her. Yeah. Ram, I'm just feeling into that so deeply. The journey from codependence to co-empowerment. What helped me, Ram, because I spent years being codependent with my parents. Years. And then codependent with my romantic partners, right? Because it just comes as a package. If you have that pattern in one area of your life, it's just going to show up in your business. It's going to show up in your love life, everything. So one key practice that helped me shift codependency in every area of my life, you guys, to transmute it to co-empowerment, is when I chose to see every person as being guided by their higher self. Every single human being has an architect of the soul. We call it oversoul, right? So if you forget that and you start playing the role of a rescuer, you are shortcutting your mother's life lesson. And what you're actually doing, you're creating a scenario where she has to go through the same lesson twice, but probably much harder this time around. Tony says, from codependent to co-committed. Exactly. And the question that can help you to distinguish is asking, I'm about to do something and I'm not sure where it's coming from. You got to ask your heart, where this is coming from. Is this coming from my desire to empower this person, or is this coming from my desire to steal their victory? Because when we choose to remain in codependency, we are unconsciously agreeing to keep each other away from expressing our highest potential. It takes two to tango in that dynamic, right? So your mom is agreeing on that on subconscious level, and you agreeing subconscious level. Imagine you just open your eyes, and that's going to be a difficult practice, Ram. It's not easy at all until you practice and practice and practice and rewire it in your brain. That becomes a new experience for you. So every single day you see your mother, imagine that you see your mother higher self. Here she is being guided, even total forgetfulness. But you will notice the shift energetically. Because if your mother is being guided by her higher self, she doesn't need you micromanage her human experience. Right? And you'll forget, and when you forget, you practice self-compassion and you choose again. But that would help me, you guys. And the moment I stopped controlling and dictating to my family how they need to come to awakening and enlightenment. I just dropped it. It took a few times, but finally I just dropped it. And I said, no more until they come to me and ask me, Katerina, share with us this. I will not even teach anything, you guys. A couple years went by and I just saw my family come to empowerment on their own, because energetically I released them. I just released them, and I began actually seeing them from the place of respect. Here you are, incredible soul, walking on your journey. Your journey looks nothing like mine. Right? Fantastic. Let me honor that. Easy to say than to practice. 100%, you guys. But you just start, little tiny shifts, and it's energetics, right? This universe is all energetics. So the moment you stop projecting that something is wrong with them, they feel it. They feel you adjusted your attitude towards them. And they just free to express themselves as they are. But I'll tell you, they come to empowerment much faster if you let them find their own way. I hope it answers your question, Ram. Lindsay says, choosing to allow sovereignty for every person creates empowerment. Exactly, Lindsay. Yeah, you guys. So, and this is how we integrate, I believe, you guys, when I talk about the different chapters of integration, also give yourself permission to integrate. And those integration chapters can be quite lengthy, Let me see. Yeah, do you guys have any more questions? Oh, Michelle. Yes. What's going on inside me? Beautiful, darlings. So let's just summarize that. And once again, the first stage is healing of your own wounds. And it's like a spiral. You reached your new relationship with the human melancholy, right? Human wound. And the spiral returns you to what? The spiral returns you to the stage 1, healing of your own wounds. You see, it's like maybe the spiral is not the right metaphor, but if I come up with a better metaphor, I'll share with you guys. But I know you get it. But it's almost like, you keep coming back. It's eternity. Infinity symbol. That's the one. It's like an infinity symbol, right? Like an 8. You made the whole journey, you keep coming back to, acceptance and healing of your inner world. I've been recently studying a lot of, what is it called? Hermetic philosophy. Hermetic philosophy. The 7 universal principles. The 7 sacred laws of creation. You guys, there is a book called Kybalion. If you are into esoteric philosophy, I think you will really resonate. You can just listen on YouTube as an audio version of it, or you can get a paper book. But one of them is this whole principle as within, as without. It comes from Hermetic philosophy, right? And it's simply, you guys, the microcosm is the exact mirror of the microcosm, right? So the reason why we keep coming back to healing the inner split and remembering our original innocence and restoring our wholeness, because when we are able to do this within, it's gonna match without it by the law of the universe that always works. So if you desire to change anything outside, where do we look? Of course we look within. And that's why, you guys, I feel so called to share with you these messages about healing of the soul and the soul science and healing of the soul in layers. Our human body, if you just wanted to be like, like ripping the bandage, I just want to heal it all in 1 year. Your physical vehicle would not be able to handle it. It's too much voltage of light coming into your body. That's why the higher self, being so benevolent and so wise, your higher self has a recollection of all the lifetimes that you've lived. This is not your first life on this planet, right? So your higher self, being so wise, orchestrating these different stages of your empowerment, of your awakening, and all for one reason. So we are able to build a soul with stamina, a soul with courage, a soul with strength, right? And ultimately, the deeper the work, the deeper the healing, that's what we create on the outside, as within, so without. When you find that harmony built, you build the harmony within, you're gonna see the harmony on the external world by law. It's just like a mirror, right? It's just like a mirror, you guys. So that's why I'm fascinated by this, because I don't know the faster way to change your reality, but to go inside. And it takes a lot of courage to go inside, you guys. And that's why having such a busy pace, frantic pace in the Western world, it's a very, how to say that? It's almost like putting people in trance, right? Like in the movie Matrix. As long as you keep moving, you're distracted, you never want to look within. And you just experience life like this much. But life is meant to be lived on a full spectrum. But it takes courage to discover it from within. Thank you for sharing this time with me, you guys. I hope it gave you inspiration. First of all, to honor yourself for every single win on your inner journey, right? Because it's invisible. It's invisible. You can't have a trophy for the healing of the wounds with the family. So we gotta remind ourselves what is truly important on this path. What is truly important. Lindsay says, thank you. This was so meant for me today. Honey, you're doing such a deep work. You're doing such a deep work, woman. I honor you. I honor you. There's so many women and men who will benefit from the seeds that you're planting right now. The harvest will be rich, rich. Deborah, I love you guys. Thank you. Thank you. That was on my heart. Because I don't share these insights just to keep woundology talk going. That's the last thing on my mind. I love letting go of the past. But once you see it in a new way, I almost can't help but share, and say, okay, there's a new piece. There is a new piece. And it's beautiful, you guys. And the relationships change so fast. So fast. Like, really phenomenal. Phenomenal. I guess my inspiration is to walk this life as spirit, gently, really becoming very mindful about the prints that the fingerprints, right? That we leave behind, or the footprints that we leave behind on other people's souls. So, I love you. Be blessed. Be your very, very best cheerleader. Celebrate yourself. And I will do my best to remind you to do that, because doing this deep healing work is not an easy achievement. And you not only do it for yourself, you do it for the whole humanity, you guys. And only, after we finish this incarnation, we have this experience of life review, right? And you and I are gonna meet at the life review. It'd be like, that was a ride. Ascension time, that was turbulent, but we've made it, and we're gonna have a giant party, right? Because it takes a brave soul to move through these changes that are happening right now. And you are that. brave soul. From all my heart, thank you for sharing this time with me. I love you.